declaring call to Ndi Monile the task of making Imo safe again and thereby restoring peace and progress to the Eastern Heartland is a collective responsibility that calls for all hands to come on deck to vote massively for Senator Sam Dadi Anyanwu of People's Democratic Party PDP during the 11th November 2023 governorship election. Together, let's bring back safety, stability, and prosperity to all parts of the Eastern Heartland by collectively voting PDP. Ebe Serembalari, Kong Nangwari, Loachina Limo, Onorokari Beyao.
Let us make Imo safe again. Bring back peace and joy. Senator Sam Dadi Anyanwu will make Imo safe again.
Good evening to everyone of you. How has been your day? How is your day moving and how are you doing? Welcome, of course, to the special edition political program we are having this evening on Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. And I would love to crave your indulgence to actually stick with us and make sure you don't shift the dial, make sure you don't touch that, because we are going to be taking you on political issues on the show this evening. Well, I have a very eminent, proven and tested, outstanding, distinguished personality here in the studio to do justice to the political issues we will be deliberating on the show this evening. Before I introduce my guest, let me first of all let you know who is talking to you this evening. My name is Osaze Ejogu, and we'll be discussing issues affecting the Imo State gubernatorial election slated on the 11th of November 2023, where different political parties will be vying for the number one position of Imo State political office, that is the governor of the governor's office, the governor's position. And I really want to let those who care to know Imolites and others who are not Imolites, if you don't know the history of Imo State, well, Imo State actually came into existence in 1976, was created under the military administration of late Murtala Mohammed. Okay, and the name was actually derived from Imo River, which currently forms a natural boundary between the state and Abia State. Of course, that was carved out, from it in 1991. Definitely, Imo State is an amazing state, and I always maintain my stand that a peaceful Imo State is actually a kind of guarantees a peace and peaceful environment in the whole southeast. And when we don't have peace in Imo State, I can tell authoritatively that we may not really have peace in other parts states, of course, in the southeast. And we are discussing the election, as I said before. We all know that the gubernatorial election in Imo State will take place on the 11th. We have other two states that will be contesting that election as well. The governorship election in their own state, talking about Kogi State and the Bayelsa State. And I really want to disclose to the listener out there that 16 political parties will be actually vying for the number one position in Bayelsa State, 18 political parties in Kogi State, and 17 political parties in Imo State. And I can tell you authoritatively that 2 political parties, are fielding female candidates in Bayelsa State, as their running mates. Okay, one in Bayelsa State, and we don't have anyone in Imo State. And according to INEC, the electioneering campaign actually started on the 14th of June, and it will end on the 9th of November 2023. Well, it's time for me to introduce my guest, but let me tell you, we are here to discuss, the political election, of course, that will be coming up on the 11th of next month, and we'll be discussing what the People's Democratic Party, PDP, the largest opposition party in Nigeria, has in stock for us ahead of that election. And that will lead me to introducing my guest here in the studio. I would love him to do the introduction, of course, by himself. But let me remind that I have the Deputy Governor of People's Democratic Party's gubernatorial election. Of course, the candidate is Senator Samuel Nemeka Nyawo, and I have his deputy here in the studio. I'm very, very privileged, and I'm happy that I'm the one, of course, doing the interview, of course, on him this evening. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I am doing great. Please, Right Honorable Jones Chukwudi Onyereri, I hope I pronounced it very well. Could you actually tell the Imolites in details about yourself, sir?
Thank you. My name is Right Honorable Jones Chukwudi Onyereri, PhD. I like to use that PhD. It's one of the few things that have excited me in life.
Okay.
I was born on the 15th of July 1967.
Okay.
Did my primary school at Zik Avenue Primary School. Thereafter, I moved to the College of the Immaculate Conception.
Okay.
One of the best secondary schools in the southeast. And after that, I moved to the foremost university in Nigeria.
So you're a great lion.
I'm a lion, and I dare say the only university in Nigeria, University of Nigeria and Soka, where I read biochemistry and microbiology.
Okay.
Thereafter, I also did my postgraduate diploma in public relations, same university, University of Nigeria.
Okay.
And now did my master's in marketing, same university, University of Nigeria. And thereafter, I did my doctorate degree in marketing, same university, University of Nigeria. I've also been privileged to attend one of the best civil service training schools in Nigeria, the Administrative Staff College of Nigeria, where I obtained a certificate in public administration. I have also been privileged to attend one of the most I would be wrong if I say that that's the best Ivy League school in the world, the Harvard Kennedy Business School, where I got my executive certificate in economic development. So I can see that I'm an all-rounder, if I'm permitted to say so.
Yes, of course you was, and I just want to tease you a little. When you were mentioning where you had your degrees in terms of higher education, you mentioned University of Nigeria and Soka, and something actually struck me. I believe I don't know, but I just want to tell you that I was part of that institution. Somehow, and I know.
Also a lion. Great guy. No wonder you sound very intelligent. Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Well, sir, let me actually come to the next question. That is what we call political service. Some persons may say political service is actually earned. Some may say it's actually given. Before I come to that question, I want to remind the listener out there that we are very much live and active on Facebook. So you can like our page at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. Like our page and drop your comment. We are very much live and active on Facebook at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. Like our page and drop your comment. We are very much live as well on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri and drop your comment. You really need our app, of course, to listen to us or watch us live wherever you are around the world. Just download our app on your various mobile stores and you will listen to us live. You can as well check us up on our website as well, boss989fm.com. Right, Honorable, I am coming to ask you the second question, which boils down your ambition to actually serve Imo State. Your ambition, something inside of you definitely must have actually kind of prompted a decision to run as deputy governor or of PDP to serve Imo State. Now, can you actually tell the Imolites your current ambition ahead of this election coming up next month?
Let me start by saying that there can only be one vision, and that's the vision of my principal, distinguished Senator Samuel Nemeka Anyanwu.
Okay.
If I had one, then that could be termed as die vision.
Okay.
Which, if you put together, is division. So there can only be one vision, and my simple role is to help him achieve his dream, and that is what I'm willing to do.
Okay.
So the question is, what is Sam Daddy's dream? What is his vision for the people of Imo State? And it's very simple. One, I can tell you outrightly that Sam Daddy is prepared for the task that he's about to undertake. Very prepared for it. I mean, in very simple terms, you can look at the life of Moses. Moses, when God was preparing him before time to deliver the children of Israel, as we have suddenly found ourselves in Imo, sadly so. He first put him through executive training. He orchestrated it divinely for him to get into the palace, to get first trained, and once he was due with that training, the next thing that he did was an advice, a wise counsel from his father-in-law, Jethro, who said, yes, young man, you can't be carrying out this business of the day and giving yourself unnecessary headache. Divide these men in groups and attend to them, and when it becomes difficult, then you can take it to the next level. And that was what God, in his infinite mercy, took Sam Daddy through. Recall that Sam Daddy had been an executive chairman of a local government. That's executive training in all ramifications. And he did it twice.
Yep.
Two-time executive chairman of Ikedru local government. And immediately after that, they took him through legislative training, just like Moses was taken through legislative training. He went to the House of Assembly twice. Thereafter, they felt that he needed a national exposure so that he would be able to bring to bear that necessary network nationally to Imo. And then God, in his infinite mercy, took him to the Senate. It wasn't expected. That was the first time in Imo State, from House of Assembly, not going through House of Reps, and he goes straight to the Senate. So you can see that there is obviously the hand of God in preparing him for what he's about to do with him. And once he finished with that, when there was obvious crisis in PDP, he needed to teach him crisis management. Crisis management. I know the administration of PDP, the bulk of it ends on his table. And beyond everybody's expectation, he was made the national secretary of the greatest party in Africa, the People's Democratic Party. That's no mean feat. And that has prepared him adequately for this task. And to the glory of God, for the very first time in the history of PDP, he ran through the primaries of a very tough gubernatorial race, and he went unopposed, unchallenged. I need to blow out this. Unchallenged. for the very first time. My brother, are you not seeing the hand of God in this? I'm sure you are.
Yeah.
So, for me, I'm excited staying under him. But how do I bring it to where I am at? Now, let me explain to you. Recall that when God even brought Moses to deliver the children of Israel, he placed with him an assistant.
Aaron.
In the place. Oh, you are a good biblical scholar. He brought Aaron. And remember, Aaron it wasn't just an ordinary person.
Yeah.
He was in the place of a prophet.
Yeah.
Which means that he was well schooled, that he had the necessary exposure, and he can stand in perfectly well on behalf of Moses.
Yep.
Recall, the assignment was first given to Moses, and then they now said to Aaron, same assignment, go speak to Pharaoh. Remember, same assignment, but he was a man under Moses. And that's how God has prepared both of us. I have also gone through executive training. At the age of 25, I was privileged to be a chief of protocol to an executive governor in the then Enugu state, comprising both Dr. Kwesile Nwozo, comprising both Enugu state and Ebonyi. And I dare say that I hate to blow my trumpet, but I believe I did well for the then head of state, General Ibrahim Babaramusi Babangida, to now select me as the only protocol officer in the whole of the 36 states to work as a protocol officer in training with him at the presidential villa. And not just only that, I remember when we went on an economic tour in America, President Bill Clinton made 3 of us ambassadors of goodwill.
That's impressive.
One was His Excellency Dr. Kwesile Nwodo. The second was Senator Ayo Eze, his special assistant, and the third was my humble self, the chief of protocol, ambassadors of goodwill. That's why I can go to any American embassy and I'll get my visa without stress. So for me, God has prepared us for what we are about to do.
That's interesting, honestly. That's very, very, very stupendous, honestly. And thank you so much for that breakdown in explaining things that Imolites need to know and want to know concerning yourself and your principal. Royal, please, I would love you to tell us what actually motivated Senator Samuel Nemeka Anyanwu to run the gubernatorial election, of course, for the 11th gubernatorial election in Imo State. What actually motivated him to say, okay, I want to be the governor of Imo State?
Yeah, first is his larger vision for Imo in terms of development.
Okay.
But beyond that, the immediate drive was the sorry situation of Imo with respect to insecurity. You know, with my interaction with him, I mean, it was obvious that his heart bled. In fact, he had this knowing feeling of deja vu.
Okay.
So for him, he had that urge to see whether he can restore peace in Imo, and that is not out of place, because I have a way of referring to the Bible. Remember, God said, if you pray for the peace of Jerusalem, you will prosper. So that tells you that there's a correlation between the peace of a place and the prosperity of a people. So for some daddy, probably why Imo people have not prospered thus far is because there is no peace. So he has this urge to come and restore peace in Imo State beyond looking at necessary development, both economic and infrastructure.
Okay. In addition to the question I asked you briefly before we go for snappy break, could you, in addition to what you said, what the PDP's gubernatorial candidate vision for the state? Because Imolite would want to know, okay, the Senator Sam Nayaka Anyanwu is actually coming out to contest for the governor of Imo State. What vision does he really have for us that will convince us to vote him come November 11th?
Now, let's start with this.
Okay.
Somebody knows that Imo State is the hub of oil production.
Of course.
Imo State is the hub of agriculture. Imo State is the hub of tourism. Imo State is the hub of enterprise.
Perfect.
So for him, a state that is geographically situated at the intersection between the Niger Delta Belt and the South-South region, you can't find two other states that have been that blessed, so centrally located, with a landmass of almost 5,530 square kilometers. Correct. And a huge population of about 6 million.
Correct.
It's not something you want to toy with. It's not something that you will just sit back and watch the state go down the ladder in all indices. So for some daddy, he's in a hurry to salvage the state. And how is he going to do it? Very simple. There are low-hanging fruits. There are key deliverables. And what are these deliverables? Look at the educational sector, for instance. Yes. Any good leader, any good governor will not be happy looking at schools in dilapidated forms. No governor will be happy to do that unless you don't have a human feeling. You can't see buildings, school buildings, where children go to school, where they are schooled, with roofs that are leaking, without desks, without chairs, people studying on bare floor. That's very inhuman. So the first thing somebody would do would be to upgrade these educational facilities. And it's only proper, because my little biology, because I am sure you also read biology in school, there's something called phenotype.
Yep.
Phenotype is a combination of your genotype and your environment. Even if you have the best of genes, even if in your house is just full of professors, XYZ, and you don't have the necessary or the adequate environment, you can't express what you have. So nobody will be happy to have people go to school in such degraded forms. So what somebody will do as a low-hanging fruit is to upgrade the educational facilities and then get the teachers, enroll more people in schools, and of course reduce the out-of-school children. Make sure everybody goes to school, because that is the right thing to do, and that's also one way to curb insecurity. Now, when you do all of that, the next step will be who will teach these people. You'll be surprised to know that in Imo State, as it is today, with about 600 schools, Imo State has only about 87 mathematics teachers. What a shame.
I'm not surprised.
About 102 physics teachers. What an alarming shame. About 120 chemistry teachers. About 20 teachers in further mathematics. I mean, this is unbelievable. In the 21st century, no wonder we have gone down the ladder in WAEC, in NECO. Remember, in the past, Imo State pupils used to come between the first, third in all of these exams. It's no longer the same. So we need to change that narrative, and the time is now. And that's exactly what somebody is coming to do. So he's going to employ more teachers. He's going to train them, and of course we train them and give them educational tools to improve them, and I dare say to restore their pride, because when they're able to restore the pride of teachers, then they'll be able to teach well. Now, when you move to the health sector, the WHO policy says that within every 5-kilometer radius, you must have a health center. Yes, government might not have all the money to do new hospitals, but for crying out loud, my brother, what is it out of place for you to upgrade the existing facilities?
No, it's not.
So that there will be accessible treatment, so that there will be drug provision, so that there will be child nutrition, so that you can lower the maternal mortality rate. How would, in this age, somebody that is about to bear a child go to hospital? No electricity. And then you are using candle. How much is a generator? How much is a generator? This is simply man's inhumanity to man.
Wickedness. How
much is a generator? It will not take you more than 10 million to upgrade any of these facilities. But let me even tell you what has happened to the ones that Roche has built. Owerri. the 27 hospitals. Even if some of them are not yet completed, what is wrong with continuity? That's exactly what has happened in other southeastern states. So why is Imo different? Must we destroy in order to kill somebody else's image? So any well-thinking person will build on another person's legacies. What is important is that there is an improvement in Imo State, and that is what people are looking out for.
Sure.
But we haven't done any of this. So for me, it's embarrassing. So
it's amazing.